Hi, welcome to Elevell Yoga with Janice. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to do quite a low level practice today. So I've managed to damage my Achilles. I'm not sure how. So my ankle's a little bit sore. So we're going to do some asana that don't require too much pressure on the ankles and the feet and the Achilles. So let's see how we go. We're going to start with a slightly different warm-up today. Now, it'll be helpful if you have a block or a book, something quite high that you can use as a prop. So just leave that on the edge of your mat. We're going to be up on our knees. What you're going to do is you're going to straighten out your right leg. Now, don't worry too much about your foot position. The ideal is that you have your foot in line with the short edge of your mat. But if that really just feels super uncomfortable on your ankle, just let the toes point out a little bit more, okay? Slight bend in the knee, we don't want to lock the joints out here. And you want your block or whatever support you might be using just a bit closer to you than your knee is. So we're lengthening up through the crown. Start to focus on that breathing, drawing breath all the way through the chest, the rib cage, down into the tummy and lower back. And just making sure in this position that we're not twisting and rotating the hips. We want to keep the hips facing forwards. Okay, so you're going to feel this in your the outside of your hip quite a bit, especially if you haven't done it before. We're going to inhale the arms up. And as we exhale, we're going to lower the right hand down onto your prop. And just exhaling, bringing the upper body just over for a really gorgeous side stretch. On your next inhale, come back through center, but then bring the left hand as you exhale down to the floor. So you can stay on your fingertips. You might bring your palm down. If you have another block or support, you can even bring that ground a little bit higher for yourself and raise it up. And then we're going to sweep that right arm across, reaching over the ear. So we're not collapsing here, we're reaching away. So you can see that we've got a really nice line from my fingertips all the way down to my foot. Keep focusing on that breathing, still lengthening through the spine. Inhaling up, we're going to really use that side body there. Exhaling back down to the other side. Inhale up and exhale down. Again, remember we're reaching away rather than collapsing down. Well done. Inhale up, really contracting through the side. And we're going to change sides. So just move your prop over if you're only using the one. Just reset in the center here, lengthening through the spine, refocus that breathing. Taking the left foot out this time, the leg. Just find that position that works for you. So we're trying to ground down through the whole foot. So if you can't do that with your foot parallel with the short edge of your mat, just let the toes rock out at about a 45-degree angle instead. And then you should be able to plant your foot down a little bit more. Place that block just slightly before your knee. Inhale the arms up. Nice deep breath. Exhale. Left hand comes down to your block or support. Reaching across. So just remember, try and keep those hips central. Don't start to twist and turn. Otherwise you lose the stretch through the side. Well done. Inhale up and lower that right hand to the floor. Just imagine that gorgeous straight line running from your fingertips all the way down to your foot, but still grounding down, pushing down into your mat. Inhale up, contract through the core, sweeping over to the other side on your exhale. Checking in with those hips. Inhale up and exhale down to the right. Lengthening that arm away without letting the shoulders shrug too far up towards the ear. Well done. Inhale up, pull, 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 pull. Well done. Just move your block to the side now. We're going to come down onto our tummies. And we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So Sphinx pose, we bring the elbows directly beneath the shoulders. And palms are shoulder width apart, palm down. Spread the fingers, connect as much as you can with the ground. Feet are pointing out behind you. And once you settle into this, so try not to let the lower back completely collapse here. We want to keep the abs engaged. But you'll notice that pressure changes. When you're relaxed, it puts quite a big curve in your lower back. Whereas when you squeeze through your core, it just reduces that curve and takes the pressure off of your lower back. It's really good just to check in with your body and see how it feels. Once we're here, we want to start to really squeeze through the legs. So they're not just laying there, not doing anything. We're engaging through the legs. And then I want you to imagine you're trying to drag yourself forward with your elbows and your hands, but without actually moving. So we're doing that sort of pulling action. And you'll notice as soon as you do that, you lift very slightly, and you'll feel that stretch running all the way down through the front, through the abdominals. We're keeping the head in line, still lengthening through the neck. Well done. And exhale down. Bring the hands just beside the chest. We're going to inhale up for Cobra. So just a baby back bend here, squeezing the shoulder blades back, away from the ears, and exhaling down. And again, inhaling up, squeeze the shoulder blades. So just remembering not to bend the neck backwards here. We're keeping that head in line with the spine. Exhaling down. And again, last one. Squeeze the shoulder blades, still strong through the legs and the core. And exhaling down. Well done. Really giving that lower back a little workout here. We're going to go into locust pose. So just bring the arms down beside the body. Now, you can play around with this a little bit. If you haven't worked your lower back very much, it's actually quite intense. So you can just do modifications. So first of all, let's just try inhaling the chest up off of the floor. The head follows, keeping nice and in line. And just see how that feels. Try and take a couple of breaths here. It's quite hard to breathe when you're lying on your tummy, so you need to try and expand through the lower back, the side ribs, the chest. Engaging through the legs here. And exhale and lower. Now let's do the same but with the legs. So inhale the legs up. Really squeezing through the thighs as if you're trying to squeeze your legs together but without actually letting them touch. It's almost like you've got a block between your thighs, squeezing that block. And exhale them down. Well done. Now depending how that felt, if you feel like you can go a little bit further,
we're going to try and lift both the top and the lower parts of the body. But if you find it too much, then just drop one side and you can keep alternating. So when you're ready, inhaling up.
And we lift the hands off the floor if that feels okay for you, squeezing the shoulder blades together, really reaching those fingertips down towards the feet, engaging through the core, through the legs. Nothing is resting here. So even though we're really working the lower back, we're actually getting a full body workout. We're using the core, we're using the arms, the legs. Focusing that breathing, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. And exhale down. Well done. You're doing great. Just a couple of breaths to recover. And we'll try one more. Okay, when you're ready, inhale up. Remember, you don't need to do the full version. You just want to lift the upper body or the legs, and you do that. And you work your way up. Keep that breathing deep. Squeezing through those thighs, through the core, through the arms, reaching those fingertips down towards the toes. One more breath. Exhale down. Well done. Great work. Okay, we're going to come into puppy pose. So first we'll just come up onto all fours. And then we're going to bring the elbows down onto the ground. Palms are flat, so it's almost like a sphinx, but we've got our bottoms in the air this time. And then what I want you to do is just walk your knees further back, just a little bit, maybe just a couple of inches or a few inches. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lower the head towards the ground. You're going to feel this through the upper body, so we're stretching particularly through the upper arms, the shoulders. Now one thing, you might end up coming into a bit of a back bend here, so you'll let your tummy drop. But you'll find that that changes the stretch quite considerably, and that's not really what we want to focus on today. So what I want you to do is really engage through the core and lift that belly button as if you're trying to draw your belly button through to your back. So you can see that when I'm relaxed, my tummy drops, my back curves downwards. Whereas as soon as I engage, we flatten through that back, lengthening through the spine again. Keep that breathing nice and deep. It might feel quite intense through the upper arms. If it does, just bring yourself out of it, or just lift up slightly. You're in full control here. Well done. On your next inhale, slowly start to rise up, and we're going to come up. Now we're going to come back into child's pose. So bring the toes together, open the knees, maybe slightly wider than hip width. And as you exhale, walking the hands away from you, letting the head drop to the ground. Now remember, if that ground is not quite close enough for you, use a block, pillow, blanket, and bring the ground to you. That's why we use props. It doesn't mean it's easier as much, but it's just it makes it more easy for you to get into the pose rather than worrying or straining yourself. We want to be safe while still challenging ourselves. So the props don't mean that you're not doing it correctly at all. If anything, they're actually helping you to get into the pose or the asana in a better way for you.
Whenever you're in child's pose or balasana, play around with those arms a little bit. It depends what you're looking for in the child's pose. You might just keep the arms relaxed down on the ground. You might be looking for a slightly stronger upper body stretch, and you might lift your arms, keeping the fingertips on the ground. Or you might even take your arms in the opposite direction and just almost hug the knees with the shoulders. Child's pose is actually a really good opportunity to use more props. You can use pillows, cushions, folded blankets, anything to sort of make you quite restful and relaxed. Well done. On your next inhale, begin to rise back up using the arms. Push, push, push. Well done. Let's come down onto our bottoms now. We're going to work that core out a little bit. We're going to go into boat pose. So we want to be lifting up nice and tall. We're lengthening through the spine. We're going to begin with our feet on the floor. If you haven't done boat pose before, it's pretty challenging. It's not difficult to get into, but it's very difficult to hold and maintain. So we'll start simply, and you can always do some progressions. So lengthening, and we're just going to sink into it a little bit to start with, sort of a modified boat pose. As we exhale, we're just going to begin to lower the upper body backwards. You might hold onto your thighs for support here, that's absolutely fine. Or you might bring your arms up, you might rest on the knees, you might even bring them out to the sides. Whatever feels good for you. You might even take them up above. Adds a little bit of extra weight, so it's quite challenging. Well done. Rising back up. So, we're going to do that again. If you just want to do the same variation, that's absolutely fine. Or if you want to go a little bit further, we're going to try lifting the feet up. So, as we exhale, we lower the upper body, not too far back. And you might start to bring your feet up. I'm always really wobbly in boat pose. So it doesn't matter if your toes are touching the floor. If you're just bringing your heels up, you might be able to get the shins in line with the floor. You might straighten your legs. I'm not quite there yet with boat pose. And rising up, give yourself a rest. Let's just try that one more time. Choose your variation. What I want you to do is choose a variation that you can hold for a few breaths. So don't go all in something that you can't maintain for longer than one breath. So choose wisely. Because you want to try and hold it, okay, and relax into the asana. So when you're ready, exhaling back. It's almost a bit of a balancing act, this one. We're lengthening through the spine still, don't let the back collapse. Don't worry if you're wobbly. And let's see if we can get 3 or 4 cycles of breath without moving. One more, come on, you can do it. Well done, relax down. You did so well. And each time just keep challenging yourself. That's excellent, great work. We're going to come down onto our backs. So let's roll through the spine. And as you exhale, let's gently roll all the way down onto the mat. So remember, when we do this, we're trying to keep the shoulders and the head off of the floor for as long as possible. Very challenging. Takes quite a bit of practice. Well done. We're going to go and just give our knees a nice big hug in. Maybe just rock side to side, really pushing that lower back into the floor. A little massage for you. Well done. We're going to go into bridge pose now, so we want to bring our feet close to the bottom. Not too close, but quite near. We're keeping our feet hip width apart, so they're not touching. We've got a nice gap about 2 fists worth wide. We're keeping our spine nice and lengthened, shoulders are tucked down, hands, palms facing down on the mat. You can even hold on to the edges of your mat, that just gives you a little bit more support. And what we're going to do is we're going to inhale, tuck the tailbone so the bottom just starts to lift off of the mat. And we're going to keep going, keep going. Don't worry if you need to pause and take a breath. And when you're ready, just keep lifting. So this is another really good full body workout. It may not look like it, but we're working through the thighs, the bottom, the core. Your arms are having to support you a little bit here. So don't worry if you need to come a little bit lower. Okay, but just keep working until you can work your way up to the top. Just be mindful of not letting the knees drop out or drop in towards each other. You're keeping that hip width apart. Keep breathing deeply. If you're feeling quite comfy here, remember you can always come out if you need to, if it's just a bit too much. But if you're feeling okay, see if you can wiggle your shoulder blades right underneath you here. You might even bring the hands together and squeeze the shoulder blades. My hands always lift off the floor when I do that, but that's okay. You might just stay with your hands on the floor if that's a bit too intense. Well done. As we exhale, we're going to slowly roll down, starting from the top of the spine, all the way down to the tailbone. Great job. Give those knees one more big hug in, a little rock side to side. Doing a great job. All right, let's do one final twist before we come down into Shavasana and end our practice today. So, you can choose your variation. We're just doing a reclined twist. So, you can keep your knees bent, you can have your toes, feet on the floor, you can straighten one leg. I'm going to let you choose today. Just do what works for you. I always like to have one leg straight. I find it helps me. So let's start by going down to the right hand side. So take the left arm out and just guide the left leg down towards the floor. Feeling quite stiff today. So don't worry if you don't quite find the floor here. It doesn't matter. Keeping both shoulder blades grounded, pushing down into the mat. And breathe deeply. See if you can just release that a little bit further on your exhale. Every exhale. Sink a little bit deeper. On your next inhale, contracting through the core to bring your leg back to center. And let's change sides. Bringing the right arm out this time. Exhaling, the right leg over to the left. Don't worry if you don't meet the floor. Keep the shoulders grounding down. See if you can focus your breath sort of into that middle to upper back area and just around where the shoulder blades meet. You might be holding on to a lot of tension from your day there, and if you can just focus that breath, almost imagine it's a light and you're trying to direct that light to a particular area. So as you breathe, send that light to that spot just between your shoulder blades. One more breath here. Well done. Inhale back to center. And coming down into Shavasana, lengthening both legs. Let the feet fall out. Wiggle those shoulder blades down so they're tucked under, away from the ears. Lengthen through the crown. If you find this position a little bit too much on the lower back, remember you can always prop your thighs up, just a folded blanket or a cushion. That just takes a bit of pressure off of your lower back. Once you're ready, try and find some stillness. Start to notice that energy that you've built up, particularly through your back and abdomen today. Feel that heat and warmth slowly spread from your center down through the legs to the tips of your toes. Then allow that warmth to spread upwards through the shoulders, down the arms to the fingertips. And finally, up through the neck, through the head, relaxing the jaw, relaxing the eyes and the cheeks and the forehead. Feel the warmth and energy fill your body. I want you to hold on to that energy, that positive, energetic heat that you build up. I want you to take it with you throughout your day today. It's going to remind you that you're powerful, strong and focused. And also remind you that you took time out for yourself today to step onto the mat and to do something great for yourself. If you're ready to finish your practice, slowly bring some movements back to the hands and feet. When you're ready, rolling over onto your side, resting the head on the arm. And when you're ready, rising up into easy pose, cross-legged. Remember, if that's uncomfortable for you, just have the legs out in front of you. Bring the hands to heart center, connecting with your heart, with your center. We're going to finish with a couple of deep cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's make them the deepest breaths we've taken all day. When you're ready, inhaling. Feel that tension melt away from the shoulders and the body. And one more in through the nose. Let's take a bow. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day.